It's sometimes hard to understand what this Bible study actually is about, but I'm going to hone in on some pertinent scriptures and bring around the understanding of why I believe America is found in the Bible and why I believe that Great Britain is found in the Bible, along with other countries, other nations, what the prophets were talking about. I'm going to read a little bit. This is the identity of Israel today. What is the identity of Israel today? You know, it's different than Judah, the Jews. The Jews have a totally different plan for that group of people. As we see the end day prophecies exploding and becoming the past, Israel having war on all sides of her boundaries. Great Britain in 1917 established Israel for the second time for the Jewish people through the Balfour Act in Great Britain. That gives you a little bit of a peek inside the prophecy concerning Great Britain and America. I'm going to read a little bit tonight about the identity of Israel today. Upon recognizing the fact that the house of Israel and Judah were separated into distinct nations, the identification of Israel becomes no great problem. One has but to find the people who first appeared in history, where and when Israel disappeared, who or what God's prophets described Israel would become, and who rose from the obscurity to a position of world leadership at the end of the 7 times or 20 year period of exile, scattered among the nations, scattered among the heathens. That's found in Leviticus 26, verse 33. Imposed upon Israel. We talked about the 20 year punishment. And for Great Britain, it ended in 1917. And for America, it ended in 1776 because these tribes went into captivity at different times. In seeking them today, let us note as a fact of history that the house of Israel disappeared in those lands just to the west of the Caspian Sea. And that it was in these same lands shortly afterwards that the various tribes, the Jutes, the Angles, the Saxons, the Dans, the Kimri, and related tribes first appeared in history. The statement was truly said that Israel's grave was the Saxon birthplace. So Israel's graves was the Saxons' birthplace. Where they disappeared, they reappeared. Now, I've been taking a little heat this week, or 2 weeks ago. Someone made fun of me and said, "Oh, well, you think Jesus was British? He wasn't Jew. You think he was British?" And then they made fun of me about replacement theology, which Israel replaced. There's no more Israel. There's only the church. The church replaced Israel. Well, that's not true either. This is not replacement theology. This is not saying that Christ was British, not Jewish. It's not saying that the Jews don't exist anymore. The Jews definitely exist, and he blesses those that bless them. What I'm talking about is the identity of Israel. The names borne by two of these tribes, the Jewets and the Dans, bear a striking resemblance to the two of the first Ishmael tribes, Judah and Dan. Kimri, the name borne by the people of Wales to this day, is identical with the name given to the Israel captives by the Assyrians. That's what the Assyrians called them, the Kimri. Likewise, the Phoenicians, who overthrew the Babylonian Empire, always referred to the Israelites as the Saka. The word Saxon is derived from this name, the Saka. In prophecies concerning Israel's punishment, exile, and future restorations, we find many descriptions of her and her future position. These constitute marks of identity, and the people and the nations who bear them today must be Israel. Israel is to be a great nation. That's found in Genesis 12, verse 2, Genesis 18, verse 18. To be called great, that's Genesis 12, 2. To be a nation and a company of nations, that's Genesis 35, verse 11. To be a kingdom, that was in 2 Samuel 7, verse 12 through 16. Jeremiah 33, verse 17. To dwell alone in the prepared place of safety, and the stag or the unicorn, found in Numbers 24, verse 8 and 9. These identification marks are found on one people only. Other nations have one or two, but only the Celto-Saxon people have them all. So you need to really, look at those scriptures and read through them. Britain is a great nation, and her name is great. Great Britain. The United States and the British nations are a nation and a company of nations. Britain is a kingdom and dwells alone on an island, which has provided a buffer against invasion by enemies. Finally, the lion and the unicorn are the two chief emblems of the British people. All of our royal and national emblems proclaim this fact. The lion and the unicorn were the national emblems of Judah and Israel, the two kingdoms in which the Israel people were divided at the death of King Solomon. The crowned lion on the British coat of arms and the harp on the shield were emblems of the house of David, the royal family of Israel. So also are the interlaced triangulars which appear on the words of all commissioned officers throughout the Commonwealth. In the line of British heraldry, the stag or the unicorn and the eagle of the United States, we have three of the original four brigaded emblems or standards under which the 12 tribes of Israel marched and encamped during the 40 years wandering following the Exodus from Egypt. That's found in Numbers 2 and Ezekiel 1:10 and Revelation 4:7. Finally, the word British in itself declares the fact of our Israelitish identity, for it is a compound of the Hebrew word brith, meaning covenant, and his, meaning man or people in the sense of a race. Thus, the word British means covenant people, which is named often applied to the Israelite people because they came into being in fulfillment of the covenant which God made with Abraham in Genesis 17, verses 1 through 7. These are just things that Scholars have studied, and I wish I could show you this diagram here. Pretty cool diagram. Starts up there at the top and reading backwards. In the camera, can't see it forwards. It shows the split of the tribes and where they split off. So our story now turns to a series of migrations by which, at different times and under many different names, our ancestors came from the understanding of from eastern lands of Egypt, Palestine, and Assyria to Britain. To understand this story, we should have a clear picture of how the British Isles were settled and the names under which the early tribes came. From 1600 BC to 800 BC, Celtic between 600 BC and 200 BC. Smaller tribes, each with its own name and history. Thus, the Iberian wave included the Hibernians, the Trojans, the Danaans, as well as the Iberians. Several smaller tribes, the Saxons included, in chronological order, the Jutes, the Angles, the Saxons, the Furnish, the Scots, the Danes, the Normans. The tribes we come to the islands of Britain merged to become the British people. We list below the main groups, the time of their arrival, and the locality where they settled. We urge you to give this list your thoughtful attention, as it is the intention to offer evidence of the Israelitish origins of each of these tribes. The Iberian settlements from 1600 BC to 800 BC, the Iberians settled in Hibernia, which means Ireland, about 1600 BC. The Trojans settled in the South Britain about 1100 BC, and the Iberians settled throughout the islands at various times between 1100 BC and 800 BC. The Danes settled in Iberian, which is Ireland, in southwest British Cornwall and Devon area, and in Scotland in several migrations between 1200 BC and 800 BC. That's 800 years before Christ. Celtic settlements came in 600 BC to 600 AD after Christ's death. The Gauls settled generally throughout the England and Ireland between 600 BC and 200 BC. The Malaysians settled in Hibernia or Ireland about 500 BC. The Cymry settled in central British North England about 400 BC, and the Jutes, Angles, and Finishes settled South Britain between 450 and 600 AD. Then there were the Saxon settlements, the Scots, the Danes, the Normans 1066 to 1100 AD. These were all different tribes and different people, but yet they all had oneness. Because the ancestors of Britain people came into the Isles of Britain under many names from different lands and at widely separated times, it has been assumed by some that they were of many different races. This assumption is often offered as proof that the British people cannot be Israelitish. Yet, no assumption could be further from the truth. for the evidence of the oneness of the British people, that all of the groups and the tribes settled Britain had a common origin and were of one race and overwhelming. Being the oneness is overwhelming that they all got along. Well, they had fights along the way, but they became one race of people. Sir T. Nichols, in the Pedigree of the English People Investigated, says, "We have accomplished the portion of our task. The substantially unity of the race of the early inhabitants of Britain has been shown. Multifarious tribes, all of kindred, they arrived from different countries, across different seas, at different periods of time, were embraced under the one general designating ancient Britons." He also stated that the research of the modern historian unequivocally favor the opinion that under the name of Keltoi, Galatia, Gauls, Gothels, Gondolans, Celtic, Cimmerian, Cimbri, Brython, Ligonians, Scots, and Picts, only one race under different tribes, clan divisions, political organizations, and periods of existence is spoken of, hence their classification as one people. They became one people over time. Yeah, there's a lot here, a lot of different professors, intellectuals who've studied these races. So all these different clans invaded Britain, starting in 1600 BC all the way up to 1066 AD. All these different races, different people came in, but they were all one. They all became one race over time. And so, I'm going to share two scriptures here that explain what I'm talking about. The truth of the matter is that all of the tribes from which the British people are descended were but branches of the same ancient race, which having become scattered from their homeland, was here being regathered and reunited. There should never have been any doubt about their identity, for in His Word, God Himself declares that such a scattering and regathering of the Israelite people would occur. Of this scattering we read in Amos 9:9, "For lo, I will sift the house of Israel among all nations, like as corn is sifted in a sieve, yet shall not the least grain fall upon the earth, without Him knowing it." So he declares there that they're not going to stay in the Middle East. They're going to stay in Jerusalem. They're not going to stay in God's chosen land. They're going to be scattered. Amos explains this. Following the scattering was to come a regathering, concerning which God says, "Moreover, I will appoint a place for my people Israel, and will plant them, that they may dwell in a place of their own and move no more. That's 2 Samuel 7:10. So they didn't stay in the Middle East, so that wasn't the land. There was another land that they were to be moved into and not move anymore. The prophet Jeremiah records, "Hear the word of the Lord, O ye nations, and declare it in the isles afar off, and say, He that scattereth Israel will gather him and keep him as a shepherd doeth his flock." That's Jeremiah 31, verse 10. So right there tells you what becomes of Israel, not Judah. Remember, there's two houses. This is what becomes of Israel. And people just don't accept it. Don't accept the word. Don't accept the Bible study. Make fun of it, mock it, because you talk about Britain and you talk about America. But I'm talking about Israel and where Israel's wandering, exploring, pioneering people are. These are just some of the verses that I'm showing to prove this out. Israel in its dispersion was not a single united tribe, but a scattered people. Actually, the fact that the ancestors of the British people came into Great Britain, into the Isles, from many countries, under many names, and at different times, is not the argument against their Israelitist identity. On the contrary, it is in itself evidence of it. So it's important to understand Israel's plan in the last days, as well as Judah's plans in the last days. And I'll keep bringing this on.
I've seen the dark, I've walked the storm, felt the cold where hope was torn. But in the silence, soft and low, I hear a voice. The shadows know it's not a dream, not just a sigh. It's in the stars, the endless sky.
There is a place where the tears all dry, where love never fades and you never say goodbye, where the broken mend and the lost are found, where peace like a river is all around. Oh, I believe, now I can see there is a place and it waits for me.
I've seen a light in someone's eyes when they forgave and love survived. I've heard it in a mother's song, a whisper that we all belong. It's not a tale to ease the pain, it's written deep in every name. There is a place where the hearts don't break, where time stands still on a crystal lake, where the air is grace and the soul runs free, where we are all who we're meant to be. Oh, I believe, now I can see there is a place and it waits for me. Maybe it's closer than we know, in every kindness we let show, in every prayer, in every song, a piece of heaven all is a place beyond the pain, where joy pours down like summer rain, where golden fields go on, and night is gone, and fear is gone. Oh, I believe now I am free. There is a place, and it waits for me. So I'll keep walking through the night with eyes on home and heart in light. There is a place, there is a place, and it waits for me. We were dreamers on the highway, chasing colors in the rain. Had no diamonds in our pockets, just the songs and the names. And the world was full of changes. We were learning how to fly. Every heartbeat was a promise. Every moment touched the sky. We had no gold, we had no chains, no corner office, no fancy names. But we had love, and that was enough. The peace we carried lived inside us. Oh, we had nothing, but we had each other. There were flowers on the hillside, there were protests in the streets. Every tear became an anthem, every loss made us believe. We were wild, we were holy, under stars we'd never known. All the answers that we wanted lived in love we called our own. We had no gold, we had no chains, no silver spoons, no window panes. But we had love, and that was enough. The peace we carried lived inside us. Oh, we had nothing, but we had each other. Time moves on and the years roll by, but I still see the fire in your eyes. We built a world with open hands, somehow we still understand. We had no gold, we had no kings, just faded jeans and guitar strings. But we